Hey everyone, we're back at the settlement after a successful showdown with the Butcher. Zachary is ready to ponder Lanternism at level 2. The undying light. The light is life, but where does its shine come from? The lifeless bodies of the dead are dim like the burned out husks of extinguished lanterns. In the churning gleam of lighted lanterns, you see where the souls of the fallen have come to rest. You rush to their side, prying the vessels of their being from the death grip of their fated bodies. Gain a Lumi and roll a d10. A cracked lantern oozes flickering particles. You place your mouth over the crack and breathlessly swallow. Your throat burns and milky white tears flow. Gain the Light Eater knowledge. Light Eater, subconscious. On arrival, gain a death token. Spend an action, consume a death token, archive it, and suffer the frenzy brain trauma. And says subconscious, you can use this while frenzied. Okay, so yeah, normally you can't use fighting arts and things like that while you're frenzied, but subconscious allows you to. And so we will replace our Hunger 2 knowledge with Light Eater. And now Alphonse will be able to learn a philosophy. And Alphonse got Dreamism. So we'll once again be rolling on the Dreamism table. All right, the natural 10, that's going to be the one that gives us +1 luck and we can no longer encourage. And then lastly, we gain 3 collective cognition from defeating the Nemesis for the first time. So that's going to put us at 6. So we can start by drawing 5. Which gives us the comprehensive construction. Gain the forum settlement location. Excitement fills the settlement as they finish construction of the forum. This Lanternier, whenever a survivor gains a knowledge from the forum, they also gain +1 Lumi. And then on top of that, we got to 6 as well. And we got the Crimson Crocodile Cuisine. Attain the Blood Dancer Crimson Crocodile knowledge card. Nominate a survivor to gain it, then share it on the forum with a Lumi token. If anyone gains it this lantern year, they will also gain +1 Lumi. So now we get a look at the forum location where we're going to be able to start drawing knowledge cards that we've acquired and spending their associated Lumi costs in order to gain them. Now, whenever we get a knowledge this year, we're also gaining +1 Lumi because of our comprehensive construction that we just gained. And then we also get 1 extra Lumi whenever someone learns Blood Dancer 1 as well. So getting Blood Dancer right now will give us 2 Lumi with somebody. And so we're definitely at least going to get the 0 cost ones because they're going to give us a knowledge as well as a Lumi bonus. So let's see if we want to give that to. Okay, so I think for Blood Dancer, I wanted to start giving some knowledges to our survivors that don't have any yet. And so with Kenna, I'll have them gain the Blood Dancer 1, and then Kesha will gain it while it is in the forum to get the +2 Lumi. Next, we'll have Kenna learn strength training as well for free, which will gain her a Lumi. Then Kesha will use the 2 Lumi she just got to gain Guardian 1, also giving her another Lumi. And with that, we're going to take a look at our departing survivors and go hunt some more Smog Singers. All right, from left to right, we have Alistair, Urza, Lucy, and Nancy, and our boy Zachary as our scout. All right, our first event revealer will be Zachary. Random event. Scribe's Book. A huge, ornately bound book lays open before the survivors. If the settlement has pictographs, any survivor with 3+ courage may write their name in the book. Insane survivors with 3+ courage must write. And we don't have pictographs, so none of us can write our name. So if no one writes, we roll again on the hunt table before moving on. It whispers your name. The event revealer trips over a protruding nose in the ground. The lips of a stone face begin to move. If the event revealer has no name, the lips stop moving and nothing else happens. Otherwise, the lips seductively whisper the survivor's name. If the event revealer is insane, they are drawn in, savagely kissing the face. Repulsed and outraged, the other survivors suffer 1 brain event damage before pulling the crazed survivor from the ground and moving on. Okay, and next up, we will send out Lucy. Melodic rainbow. Color shimmers in the air, rippling in time with haunting melodies. If any survivor has an instrument in their gear grid, the survivors join the chorus. Otherwise, they all gaze in wonder. And none of us have an instrument, so gaze in wonder. Roll a d10. Okay. If any survivors are noisy, the performance abruptly ends. All survivors are deflated and lose 1 survival. And luckily, none of us are noisy, so we get to ignore that as well and move on to the next hunt event. Then last, let's send in Alistair. Breached mud whale. The survivors squelch up a slimy mound. If anyone is wearing heavy armor, they sink ankle deep into the soggy terrain as they plod along. With a sudden quake, the mound disappears from beneath their feet in a muddy splash. The survivors crash down with a thud. Archive all fragile gear. Otherwise, at the top, a vista opens before them. It is ribboned with curls of vivid smog that gently swirl together, creating colors the survivors have never seen. All survivors gain 1 survival. If they are at the settlement's limit, they gain +1 strength token instead, and roll a random hunt event. And none of us have heavy armor, so we're all going to gain 1 survival, or if we're at the limit, gain a strength token. And everyone was at the survival limit, so they all gained 1 strength token. Dream. The event revealer dreams of the upcoming hunt. They stand before the great beast, weapons ready, but it strikes them down. If the event revealer has 3+ courage, or if any survivor is a savior, the event revealer is emboldened by the dream and gains +1 evasion token. Otherwise, the dream is merely rattling, suffer 1 brain event damage. So we don't have any saviors, and Alistair does not have 3 or more courage, so he's going to take 1 event damage to the brain. And that will conclude the hunt. We are now upon the Smog Singers. Let's get to the showdown. Since we're a little more familiar with the guilt mechanics now, I'm going to put Alistair and Urza in the spots that gained them an extra guilt token at the start of the showdown. And they're going to start off with an acoustical greeting. So none of them have adjacent threats, so they'll all be going to the closest threat. All right, let's see how that pans out. Fortunately for us, each of them were only able to get 1 target in their synchronic attack. For the attack order, let's go Zachary, Urza, then Nancy. Zachary has +4 evasion with the tall grass, so when they need to roll an 8 or higher to hit. And that's 2 misses. Urza actually has +5 evasion in the tall grass, so a 9 or higher to hit. Okay, so 1 hit to Urza. And no tall grass, so we just need a 6 or higher to hit. And 2 misses. All right, a good set of rolls there. And then so for Urza, we'll take a damage to our legs. So I think we want to start in the top left here with Lucy. And instead of going for that blind spot, we're going to stay in the tall grass and make an attack from here. And we have 1 accuracy, so we're going to hit on a 5 or higher, rolling 3 die. Okay, 2 hits. 2 hits to the velvet back and the 7th breast. We did draw a first strike location, so we're starting there. The monster attempts to communicate with you. It turns to face you, and pain spews from its mouth. Suffer 1 vibration damage. And with Lucy, we're going to take that to the arms. And so with Lucy, we have a 7 strength even without the sharp. So we're going to wound no matter what. This is just to see if we crit or not. And pretty close to a crit, but still a wound. And now the 7th breast, we know we can't fail. So again, just rolling to crit. And it's still a wound. Next, I'm actually just going to move Zachary down 1 space here. And then I'm actually going to use a bone dart to attack this one instead. All right, now I need to roll a 7 or higher to wound. Perfect. And we hit the downy cheek. We're adding 5 strength to this, so a 2 or higher to wound. And that'll do it. So Zachary gains a guilt token. And then, with a startled shriek, the monster moves 4 spaces away from the attacker. If still standing, the attacker may pursue the monster. If they do, their aggression is shocking, and a survivor with the least guilt token gains 1. So I'm not going to pursue, since this is my scout, but we will move them back 4 spaces. So I guess this is up to interpretation a little bit, but in my mind, I'm attacking from the north. So 1, 2. Next, since there's now a nice little spot open for Nancy, we're going to have Nancy come into the blind spot and make an attack with the spinning sword. Two hits. To the fleshy forearms and the downy throat. So let's just start with the forearms. That does it. And so they're once again going to move 4 spaces away from me, but they are going to hit the board edge after 1 move and stop. Then that attack will give Nancy their first guilt token, and we will choose to pursue. And now that we're adjacent, we'll draw 1 more hit location. And then the hit location we drew was the undulating tail slime. So to get the first strike ability, we're going to have to choose it over the other one. We rolled 2 successful hits, so we got to roll them at a -2 accuracy, meaning that now we need to hit 7 or higher. And so because of that, we have to discard a hit location for each miss. So we have to get rid of these 2 and can no longer keep trying to wound. Now with Alistair and Urza right here, we have the perfect chance to try out our new synchronized strike. So let's move Alistair around back into the blind spot. With the blind spot and synchronized strike accuracy bonus, we're going to hit on a 4 or higher. And 2 hits. 5 and a 7. And we hit the flat nose and the smoggy liver. We're going to start with the flat nose. +6 to our strength means we definitely wound. Let's see if we crit. Not quite. And now the smoggy liver. Okay, and this one does have a reflex. And the smoggy liver reflex says, full move the monster towards the attacker. If adjacent colorful smog pours into your mouth, a rush of emotions leaves you blushing. Gain +1 insanity as you begin to sing and flip your song card face up. So that gave Alistair 3 insanity. So now we are guilty, insane, and let's see our song. Okay, guilty, insane, and we have a song of seething. When this is turned face up, remove all your guilt tokens, so we at least get to get rid of those. Then after the trap card is resolved, full move towards the closest survivor that suffered emotional breakdown. If adjacent, choose a weapon in your gear grid to strike them with. They suffer a number of hits equal to its speed for damage equal to its strength. Otherwise, you are knocked down and suffer frenzy. Oh, man. And now we might as well go ahead and get that synchronized strike in with Urza as well. So with just the synchronized strike bonus, we do need a 5 or higher to hit. 2 hits. Into the soft back breast and the downy gut holding hand. And we're going to start with the soft back breasts. And with +7 strength, again, we cannot miss the wound. Then after that, we'll go for the downy gut holding hand. And we got the crit. This one had a wound reaction, so we're going to skip that. And then for the critical wound, the monster cradles its limp hand and whimpers. Gain a random monster resource. A dark corner of your mind relishes the pain you inflicted. Gain the marrow hunger impairment and remove all your guilt tokens. All right, I've seen quite a few cards that interact with the marrow hunger, so that should be interesting for Urza to get. Okay, for the Smog Singers' turn, they've drawn Peace Offering. The target is going to be the guiltiest threat, and currently Urza is the only guilty survivor, so they are by default the guiltiest. And then we're going to full move the monsters toward the target. So let's go ahead and start with that. And then obviously that one doesn't have to move. Then we're going to intimidate target. The Smog Singers bows its head, folds its arms over its inflated belly, and clasps its hands. You faintly sense that they want you to leave. You may end the showdown. If you do perform the story event, Showdown Smog Singer Concord. If you do not, gain +1 insanity and a guilt token. Okay, so this game really knows how to actually make you feel guilty for slaughtering these Smog Singers. I mean, literally coming to us begging, like, hey, stop this. But I really want the resources, so I think I'm going to continue on. So I'm not going to end the showdown, and I will gain an insanity and a guilt token with Urza. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and start with Alistair and Urza getting another synchronized strike in. So I will start with Alistair this time. So with synchronized strike and being in the blind spot, we need to roll a 4 or higher to hit. Oh, let's get that one in the box. Okay, 2 hits. To the forlorn face and the 6 crossed arms. So we'll start with the forlorn face. And we wound no matter what, so let's see if we crit. We do not, but it is a wound. So Alistair's going to get another guilt token starting back up after we discarded all of ours after revealing our Song of Seething. And then the forlorn face says, the monster shamefully hides the ugly hatred on its face. Reveal the top 5 hit location cards, discard any that are not the trap, then shuffle the remaining hit location deck without the discard pile. Okay. All right, the hit location deck's looking pretty small, so now we're going to try to wound the 6 crossed arms. Well, excuse me, we will wound. Let's see if we crit. Not a crit. So on this one, the monster turns to face the attacker. It spits a deep bass note as red smog pours from its nipples. All survivors in the zone of hate suffer 3 damage to a random hit location and bash. So Alistair will take 3 to the head, and Urza will take 3 to the arms. And 3 damage to the arms will give Urza a light injury there. So we're going to start with Zachary. Move up there in the tall grass. Just in range for a Bone Darts attack. We need a 7 or higher. And we are getting really good rolls on the Bone Darts. Okay, to the downy belly. You strike the monster before it has a chance to harden its intestines with air. If you are attacking with a heavy weapon, gain +4 strength. These Bone Darts are definitely not heavy. But we have a +5 to this attack. So we wound on 2 or higher. So that gives Zachary his 3rd guilt token, making him guilty. And then we'll have Zachary spend a survival to stand Urza up. Now since Urza just stood up in the blind spot, let's see if we can make an attack here and get the last few wounds. And then with Urza actually, let's go ahead and spend a survival to stand up Alistair so we can get the accuracy bonus from a synchronized strike. That means we're gonna hit on a 4 or higher. 2 hits. And yeah, it was coming down to it, so we did get Song of Murder, so we drew the trap card. The Smog Singers turn red with anger, their faces contorting in rage. The attacker gains a guilt token. All survivors are doomed. If the attacker used a ranged weapon, we did not, full move all Smog Singers toward the attacker. The attacked Smog Singer begins to sing a harsh tune. The attacker and all survivors in the song zone suffer an emotional breakdown. All right, so let's see how this pans out. So Song of Murder is only going to be affecting Urza and Alistair. Since Urza was the attacker, we will start with her for the emotional breakdown. Urza has 5 guilt tokens, so a guilt whipworm manifests the tune, jiggling your organs with increasing vigor. Shaken, you lose your balance. Suffer vibration damage equal to your guilt tokens and bash. Okay, so Urza is getting knocked back down, and we're taking 5 vibration damage. And we have exactly 5 points of armor left across our body, so we're just going to go down to 0 across the board. And then Alistair has 2 guilt tokens. The melody descends like a searing curtain over your body, and your feet blaze into aching motion. Full move away from the monster and suffer 1 brain damage. But we have the option for 2 and 3, which we are at 2. If you are singing, which Alistair is, and the settlement has any music innovations, you are distracted by the top notes of the melody instead. Your cochlea recoils in disgust, forever deformed. Suffer the death, severe head injury, and stop singing. Okay, so our Song of Seething is going to get turned back over, and then Alistair is going to become deaf. All right, back to the board. Let's give Nancy a shot to get some hits before the fight's over. Get into the blind spot. Need to roll a 5 or higher to hit. That's going to be 1. Okay, to the 7th breast. And we are going to wound on a 2 or higher. So that's just what we needed. We've got 1 AI card left in the stack. So I think it's time we send in Lucy for a charge. And we're going to have to spend a survival to dash in order to make it over there, but we don't mind doing that. We're still at 3. We're rolling 3 die and we hit on a 4 or higher. Okay, 3 hits. With those 3 hits, we did draw the Undulating Belly Slime, which has that first strike location that makes us re-roll all of our hits with -2 accuracy. So we're going to re-roll all 3 of those, and we're trying to get a 6 or higher now. Okay, unfortunately only 1 of those made it through, so we do have to discard 2 of these. So I'm going to keep the Downy cheat because using the Diamond Scab Guitar, I know I'm going to be wounding on these no matter what. So with a pursue action, getting me another hit location draw, this is a guaranteed 2 wounds. So I'm just trying to see if I crit here or not. And that is a wound, and then we are going to pursue and gain a guilt token. Okay, the fleshy armpit. Let's see if we can crit. And not a crit, but it is a successful wound, meaning we have defeated the Smog Singers once again. An offer of peace was made, but we decided to continue our slaughter for their resources. I guess we'll have to continue to weigh the pros and cons of that as we continue the campaign. Let's go to the settlement phase. We're going to gain 5 endeavor from all of our returning survivors and then draw a random settlement event. This time we got birth. The settlement welcomes a new life. Gain +1 population. Everyone gathers to meet the newborn and celebrate the settlement's good fortune, bringing presents to mark the happy occasion. The settlement may archive 1 perfect resource of each type to gain its associated benefits. All right, we did already spend the 1 perfect hide that we had on those vermin belly boots for our scouts, so no extra bonuses, but I will take the +1 population. And we also have the Stained story event. With one hand balancing the ball of snoring dreamers, the dreamkeeper deftly snatches a handful of soot moths fluttering in the lantern light. Mixed with the sweat pooling in its palms, a pungent ink coats the dreamkeeper's enormous hand. It beckons the settlement to gather. If the settlement does not already have it, gain the face painting innovation. The settlement is inked by the dreamkeeper. On an 8, despite the giant size of the crude instrument, the dreamkeeper delicately marks each survivor with lace-fine rosettes of inky splendor. The survivors cannot help but happily exclaim as they meet each other's gazes. Their eyes shine even brighter in the lantern light. All survivors gain +1 Lumi. Nominate a survivor. The dreamkeeper manages to draw the flourish perfectly around their eyelid. They gain +1 luck and the Founder's Eye ability. And Founder's Eye says, a permanent design with intricate line work too fine for the naked eye to see. Add +1 to all rolls on the Intimacy story event. And for that, we are going to nominate Nancy. So now Nancy has +2 to her luck. So the first thing we'll do is ponder Lanternism rank 2 with Nancy. And an 8 will give us the same thing as last time we rolled on this, the Light Eater knowledge. And next, Alistair is going to ponder Dreamism rank 2, Snoring Mass. You reverently meditate at the Guardian's feet. The Dreamkeeper holds the fates of so many in its hands. Its crooked smiles hide the secret of knowing what is to come. You ask for a prophecy of your future. In answer to your prayers, the Guardian shifts its immense weight, plucking a sleeping figure with its brittle black nails. The glistening dreamer sits at your feet, raising their hands into the air. You press your palms against theirs in answer. The dreamer leans close and tells you that they dreamed you had emerged from one of their hinged fingernails. Gain +1 population. You and the dreamer gain fingernail door. Okay, a nice little population boom this go around. All right, so Alistair and then the dreamer, our newcomer Darla, have gained fingernail door. You feel something escape from the tips of your fingers. The sensation is oddly refreshing. When you roll a lantern 10 before anything else happens, physically rotate the die to a 1 and gain +1 insanity. And we get observations by using this knowledge. So now we want to go ahead and spend one of our endeavor to innovate. So we will spend the mystery meat, monster bone, and monster organ. And so between pictograph and cooking, the choice is easy for us. We want to take cooking since pictograph does have a special innovation. Now, we weren't fortunate enough to get all of the resources we needed to finish the Colosseum's armor set, but we have enough to get 2 more pieces. So we're going to spend the delicate hand and the vocal cords, as well as a pink flesh and singing tongue to get 2 more pieces of that set. So we get the singing pantaloons and the singing gloves. The gloves say that you reduce the cost of performing your ballads by 1. I have not even seen ballads yet, so I don't even know what that means. Then with the last pink flesh, I'll use that to get another piece of our rawhide set. And we'll grab the boots. And through other events this year, we gained 2 populations, so I'm not so concerned to use the love juice for intimacy. For our second endeavor, I'm going to use that for Hollowstone Gathering to give us our 3rd Hollowstone, and then use those 3 Hollowstones and our love juice for the organ to craft the stone face cloak. A crucial piece of scout gear, I think. So the stone cloak is 2 armor to the head and the body. It is armor scout heavy stone. At the start of your act, if you are not on terrain, you may hide. Replace yourself with the hidden face terrain tile and place the scout miniature on the terrain card. So yeah, very good for the survivor, for the scout to stay alive. So this next hunt, I think I finally want to tackle a level 2 Crimson Crocodile. And so we're definitely going to be sending out our 2 survivors that got that Blood Dancer knowledge. So I'm going to use 2 of those to give them both Synchronized Strike. So Blood Dancer and Synchronized Strike for both of them. meaning they're both going to gain a torment or systemic pressure. And then since Kenna has less insanity, I'm also going to spend that last one to give her +2 insanity with our drums here. So that's going to be all for this video. I'm not too interested in the knowledges in the forum right now, so I'm just going to leave that be. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.